All right, so we are on the last module for February. It's a lot of information. I mean, I'm just like blown away because first I'm going to say I'm so proud of you because you are hanging in there. There's a lot of information and a lot of you have emailed me, and I know that many of you can't come to chats on Thursday because of the time difference or family or work or whatever the case is. I totally get it, but keep those emails coming. Just like you email me for any little thing, I love it. I had an email the other day was said, what do I think about footers or something? It was something really, but we're very simple, but it was so important. So thank you for that. It can be as simple as a footer, a header, a logo, whatever it is. Even if we didn't get to that module yet, I'm still going to help you, and I'm going to let you know when we'll get to that module. Read over the modules of when we're going to do certain things. So if you have lots of questions, make sure you're going to note of that. I sent you a calendar for a reason, so make sure you're making a note of that and using all the tools. Beauty in the Brains 2018 will only work if you put in the work. So if you can't come to chat, email me. If you come to chat, participate, even if you have no questions. It's important. There's a lot of information and none of this can happen overnight. That's why we do one topic per month, so it's not overwhelming. But by the time it comes in December, you're going to feel like, oh my gosh, I learned so much this year and I'm seeing results because I'm doing. Because that's what Beauty in the Brains is for you to do. It's not just for you to learn. It's learn, do, learn, do, learn, do. When you do that, momentum, you have a balance. You're not just storing information and then think about like, what did we do? What did I learn? We're not doing that. So let's get into the last module, which is product and service launch. We're launching. Yes, this is when we're going to be launching. This is when you need your calendar because your calendar is going to let you know based on all those things, you should be telling yourself that you're going to launch this out within 30 to 60 days or 60 to 30 days because it takes about that time for all that information that I send to you. However, many can do it in 30 days if they act quick so they can switch gears if something doesn't work. Let's get started. So product launch, the number one thing I want to tell you is that you have to have confidence about talking about your product and services. You need to know your product and service like the back of your hand. The back of your hand. Yes, you have to have that confidence. I'm a very confident person, and there's a lot of things that I'm not confident in. I can give you a list of many things I have limiting beliefs, and I'm just so shy, and I'm just like, I don't have confidence in. And, sometimes even making these videos and stuff, you guys probably think I'm hilarious. And inside of my head when I'm editing and I'm like, oh my God, I've got to work on my English or I've got to work, but this is who I am and it's okay. And there's a lot of confidence, and I'm just being very transparent with you guys because I want you to know that I am not perfect. But even with my reading or my writing or it's just a lot of things I'm not confident. Even speaking Portuguese. I mean, I can totally understand it and I cannot speak it because I get so shy. I mean, me shy, right? It's hard to believe, but I really am. And I'm not confident, but I know what I want to say, but I'm not confident. And there's a lot of things in the business that I'm not confident in. But I've had to kind of, if I know it like the back of my mind and I know that I can, and it doesn't matter how, then it's fine. The information is going to get out there and people are going to love and know and trust me and be a part of my tribe. And so what I'm telling you is take time to understand your service and product. When we pitch out to people, we're so passionate about our brand. And even when I'm talking to you and the clients have worked with me, if you've never worked with me in the past on a one-on-one, this is the interaction probably you're going to have on chat. But I love having fun. I love joking. And there's number one thing is that I am very passionate and I'm a firm believer of practice what you preach and keep it real without the fluff. And that's why in everything like my blog and everything I talk about like without the fluff, because there's so much fluff in the world and everything looks so easy, like if it's an easy button, and it's not. It really isn't. And so I'm not here to be a Debbie Downer or to be a Nazi, but I'm here to say to you it's possible, but you got to do this, and you got to do this, and you got to help. And it's okay to not feel confident in certain things. It's not going to happen overnight, but you got to practice, be your own cheerleader, and be a part of people that will cheer you on. So building confidence is all about knowing and understanding your service and product so that you can speak on it eloquently, but also the passion comes out, and it's just like, it's like a romance because you're talking about it, and people are like, wow, she really loves this, or he really loves that. You also want you to understand that when you're creating your product launch, you want to create an irresistible sales funnel for your product or service. We talked about this in the second module. You need to know where you want your customer to go after XYZ. We have a subscription box. We want our customer to be a part of a subscription box every single month. At the same time, we want every sample that we put in there or whatever it is within the 3 months, every 3 months, we want them to be making sale. We want them to actually buy more things. We have a funnel for every customer from business to business to business to consumer. If it's a business to business, your funnel starts with the seeds, saying hello, introducing yourself, understanding who they are, what they want, following up. Remember my client that I was talking about, that she called, she wrote a letter, that she sent this, that she sent that. She wasn't being a bugaboo. She was being like a cool person. You're like, oh my God, they don't do business like that anymore. That's what you need to be. It's not about a bugaboo. It's about persistence, but in a space kind of way. You got to create a sales funnel. Write this down. Sales funnel. It's so important. Where do you want your customers to go? If you want a regular customer to buy something from you, a pair of socks on your website, what do you want them to buy next? Or what do you want them to be involved with next? Do you want them to comment next on something? Do you want them to give you a review? I'll give you an example. I had a customer, again, with socks, and he had really cool socks, and he was selling them, and he wanted everyone to, this was his funnel. Crazy, right? But it was a sales funnel. He wanted someone to purchase a sock. After he purchased the sock, he wanted them to do a review. The review was going to trigger another purchase. Are you following? That person who did a review now ignited a purchase from someone else. So that person who gave the review, he gave an incentive to them, which made them buy something else. When they bought something else, they said, wow, I've already been with this person. I already know someone who I recommended to. And now he upsold them to his service. Okay. After his service, and then he goes on, he checks up on them. Now he created an upgrade to that service, and he upgraded them to that service. My whole point is, if you didn't follow along, rewind what I just said. But if you didn't follow along, my whole point is you cannot just leave your customer in, I bought something, have a nice day. No, you want them to read your blog. You want them to comment. You want them to buy something later on. You want them to tell someone. You want them to be involved. You want to ask them a question. You want to create a relationship with them. They are family, just like your business to business. So creating a funnel is super important because that's how you get repeating customers. It's easier to get a new customer than to keep one. So it's important for you to have a sales funnel in place so that when you're doing these you know exactly where your customer is going. I'm going to talk about content and communication next month, where I'm going to be talking about ConvertKit, and I'm going to talk about how awesome they are and how I'm not just saying it because they're awesome, but they're so organized. I'm not even going to tell you, we're going to get into that next month. But having everything automated, which we're going to get into that too, is important and makes all this work as well, because you can't physically be doing things. Just this last week, I had to switch to another server for our subscription box because things were not speaking to each other, and we are not always on the computer, so we can't make things speak to each other manually. We have to have it speak to each other because things need to be speaking to each other no matter what time zone it is. I got on it immediately, and I switched our server to another program. So now the checkout, and it is like working like magic. It's like butter. That's how awesome it is. So making sure that you know exactly where the sales funnel is important, and launching with that in retrospect, launching your email sequence that converts. This is where ConvertKit comes, and I want to talk about that. You have to take your service and your product, and you want to know exactly how you want your email sequence that's going to go for this sales funnel. So if you know that someone buys something, when someone buys something, they should get an email that says, hello, thank you for your order, blah, blah, blah. And then when it's being shipped or when your service is going to be rendered, and then a follow-up, of course, not right away, but everything should have a sequence. A day, 3 days, 7 days, a month, everything should have a sequence, because what happens is you do not want to forget about that customer, because that customer is very vital to you. They are now not just an email or a purchase like have a nice day. They are part of your family. You can't forget about your family. I mean, even the ones that you want to, you can't. So making sure that that sequence is done. You need to have it on a sheet of paper. And I'm going to you literally need to have a paper. Okay? And you need to write the sequence. How do you want people to go on so that when you do it online, you know exactly where you want it? So the next part of it is creating urgency for your launch. And this is why it's important to have the lead magnets. Remember we talking about having those lead magnets? Creating urgency is all about not you have to, buy now, whatever, but ask us questions now. What do you think about this? Not just always in a selling mode, but really understanding that it is a limited time, because you really are opening it. Remember we said we're only opening it either service or product for a certain amount, because before you do any product or service for anything, you should not be producing things in a large quantity. I tell every brand, before you go to production, you need to do a super small sample size, 10, 12. If that sells like crazy and you have orders, that's a good problem, because we can easily fix that. Even if they have to wait, we can always say sorry in many different ways. But if you have all this stuff you're sitting on, you can't fix anything, because now you're sitting on it and you have to take control in getting rid of it. So creating urgency based on your launch is all about using your calendar system. And when and how you're going to create this urgency. Is it by the weekend? Is it by the end of the month? Know when your people get paid. Know when people get money in. Know when people, now I know a lot of people are reinvesting their returns, or maybe they have to pay back the government. Whatever the case is, use your urgency, but be very attentive to your timeline, because you don't want to be on the opposite spectrum and then you're not going to blow it out of the water because you're total opposite. The last thing for product launch for business to business and business to consumer is increasing these these sales through webinars, affiliates, and other marketing techniques. If there's a million ways to have an outcome, and I want you to write this down. There's webinars. You can literally jump. I've had clients that will literally be on FaceTime, or they will have live and they have their outfits or whatever the case, or they're showing it, they're doing a demonstration, they have live reviews, someone just opened up their subscription box and say thank you, whatever the case is. You can do that through live testimonials, webinars, getting on the phone or getting on a video like this and asking questions like, what are your what are your problems, or what is this, and how do you want, just having a conversation with people. People don't do that anymore. Ask questions, or getting someone on to ask who's a professional in that aspect. Affiliates is important too. Affiliates is huge, and we're going to talk about that with content and communication next month. But affiliates is if you know and you love a product and that's your bestie, why can't you just share it with your customers? Even if they don't buy something from you and they buy from them because you know they need it, they're going to love you for it and they're always going to remember. So, and you get a kickback for it. So affiliates. Who are the dominated affiliates in your market that you know that can work with your product or service in a business to business or business to consumer? And other marketing tactics out there that can be, yes, bloggers, everybody does bloggers, but go outside the box. It doesn't have to be necessarily a blogger, because it could be another store. It could be, again, another opposite avenue. And I have answered a lot of that in one of January's chats. So you can actually go on there and see. And we're going to be talking a lot more about other marketing tactics, but please think outside the box, because the number one thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you're offering something different and fresh. And also think about the last thing about all this is think about your branding. Think about how does it look, your colors, your logo, all that stuff needs to match even from a business to business to a business to consumer. I know that when we're doing invoices to business, we make sure our logo's on there, we make sure the color scheme is the same, we make sure in our collection that everything is in sync and it looks like it comes from our company. So that's also something, a really small detail, but we really do forget because we think that business to business and business to consumer are two totally different businesses. No, same business, same brand, except you have to keep your branding together so that it looks in sync. And that is your product launch. I hope you enjoyed this month. Next month, we're going to get into content and communication. I think that's the one. No, next month, we're going to get into a new whole topic, but please take time this month because by the end of this month in February, if you're watching this at the beginning of February, which you should, every first is when we bring out new content. So you should be on it, looking at it, so you have the full month to do these things so you can actually launch this product or service by March 1st. That is your thing. And it's like a ripple effect. Every month you learn something, you do. You learn, you do. You learn, you do. You get it. So, all right, you guys, this is Beauty in the Brains, month 2 in the books. We're moving on, and I'll see you guys for spring in March. Have a good day.